Okay, so we're gonna do part 10, and we left off with Detective um, Johnson. I couldn't think of his name, but we left off with Detective Johnson running the name of the person inside the house. Her name was Jasmine Michaels. He ran her name, he ran her birthday, all that other stuff. So let's just start there. So Detective Michaels called it in, and he's like, something's not right. So the whole time they were sitting in the driveway, the lady was staring out the window, and she was on the phone too. And so he said, yeah. So let me know what you get on her. And he said, we're gonna pull out of here. He said, I'm not sure what this young lady is up to, but we're just gonna pull out and park across the street. So he hung up the phone with them, and he looked over at Zion, and he said, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Just relax. It's okay. He said, I don't, he said, I see her paperwork, but I don't believe it. I believe that you're telling the truth, Zion. It's my house. I know it. I had the original deed. It's in my name. I mean, my husband and I share this home. We were just here together for 24 hours ago. It doesn't make sense that 24 hours later, this woman and her family is in this house talking about she's been here for 3 years. He said, yeah, something's not adding up. And he said, you know what? He said, I almost believed her. But when it came down for me to take a picture of her deed, and she blew it. She blew it right then and there because of her resistance. He said she didn't cooperate. He said, I don't understand. If you were willing to show the deed, why wouldn't you cooperate for me to do further investigation? She said, exactly. It's something that's not adding up. So, meanwhile, over at the other hotel that Malcolm was found, Detective Robert go to the management, and he asked them to comb through the cameras, just to see if anything, if possible, if they see anything happening after hours, to catch Malcolm, to catch Zion, or even the other young man on the camera that Zion has spoke about. And so when they viewed the camera, they never once caught Zion on the camera, and he thought that was odd. He just looked, and he said all he seen was Malcolm the whole time by himself. And he did see a gentleman on the elevator, but they got off on separate floors, and he didn't catch anything else. He's like, God, who did this to this man? I mean, this is so brutal. Whatever happened to this guy is just so brutal. Jesus Christ. So he kept looking at the cameras, and finally he seen a figure. Somebody who had on a hoodie walking through the halls after hours. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And he seen them entering through the connecting room. And he kept looking, and he's looking. He said, that's not Zion, though. Who is that? That's a man. So he was looking at the cameras, and he said, excuse me, sir, can you pause and zoom in on that right there? I just want to see if I can see. He said, talk to me. He said, that's the shape of a man, right? So they zoomed in on the picture, and he said, yeah, that's a man for sure. He said, well, maybe it's the guy that she was talking about, but then the body shape and measurement is different. This is somebody else. This is not the same guy in the elevator. This is not the same guy that was downstairs in the bar. This is another guy. And the manager said, I think you're right, Detective Robert. I think you're right. Okay, do me a favor. Can I get a copy of this recording here? Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it edited and sent to you. He said, no. I need the tape, and I definitely apologize. I just need this tape, and I'll take it. I have to take it into the station under. He said I need it bagged as Exhibit A. So they collected the recording of the night of the demise of Malcolm Turner. So they also collected some more evidence in the room that they knew didn't belong to Malcolm, and there was other specimens and stuff that just didn't belong to Malcolm, and they were doing a lot of collection. So they finally wrapped things up at the hotel and made it out of there. And still, when you go back to the other hotel where Zion was at, the smell. Finally, the crew came in. They looked in and out of that room, and initially by sight they couldn't find anything. So they began to tear the panels off of the walls. They couldn't find anything there either, but the smell was so strong that it was something there. They just couldn't say. They flipped the bed over. And then one of the detectives looked up. And he said, I think it's there. It's right there in the panels, in the ceiling panels. He said, come on, somebody needs to get on up there. Somebody needs to get up there right now. He said, it's there. He said, look at the stain right there. You can tell right there by that stain. So they pulled in a ladder, and somebody moved the panel out the way, and the smell got stronger, and the guy was like, oh my God, yes. He said, sir, it's definitely here. Whatever it is, it's definitely in here. And so he looked around, and with a flashlight, he said, sir, we have a corpse, sir. They found another body. So they had to call in the mortician and have them come in and assess the body and to do what they needed to do and take it off to the morgue. And it was a woman. They didn't know who it was, and they wondered if it was Samantha that came in with Stephen. And they had yet to talk to Stephen. And that's the thing, like, they reached back out to Detective Robert, and they said, we unable to locate Stephen. We went to the house, and there was no sign of him at the house. That makes no sense. There was a lot of puzzles, the pieces to the puzzle that just wasn't pulling right together. Stephen was missing. There was a corpse in the ceiling at the motel. There was a man that wasn't the man in the elevator that Zion talked about, and Zion was nowhere found on the recording. She said she was on the elevator. She said she was in the bar. She said she was going into the room. She said all these things about her presence in that hotel, but she was nowhere on the recording. So none of that was adding up. So Detective Roberts called Detective Johnson. He said, the phone's ringing. He said, Detective Johnson, I need you to take Zion into the station. I need more information from her as soon as possible. It's a lot. It's pieces that need to be pieced together, and I think she's going to help resolve some